Hi everybody, my name's Whitney and I am here to launch my BookTube channel. I have just recently started watching BookTube videos and it just immediately struck me as so much fun to talk about books in such a casual, kind of communicative kind of way. It seems like the BookTube community is really inclusive in a way that not a lot of internet communities are, and I thought that it would be a really cool thing to get involved with myself. Okay, a little bit about myself. I am a PhD candidate in English. Within our English department we have focuses, and mine is American Studies. So I study primarily texts from 1900 to 1950, but specifically I'm looking at early American superheroes. I'm writing about Superman and Batman and Captain America and Wonder Woman, but also Tarzan and Conan the Barbarian and the Lone Ranger. And I teach some classes on superheroes and adaptation and popular culture, in addition to kind of those more canonical kind of English texts that, you know, we always study: Great Gatsby, Willie Cather, Hemingway. But I also read really widely. For my dissertation, you know, I'm reading more specifically, but as soon as my day ends and I can, you know, delve into more popular books or just like esoteric kind of avenues that I go down. I'm kind of an obsessive reader where I will find, you know, every book on Bruce Springsteen that I can and read all of those biographies that I can. I spend my day, you know, reading and writing and teaching, and I thought that this would be not a diversion, because I don't want to minimize it, but a really valuable way of remembering what I love about books and reading. Because when you're in the middle of a giant project like I am, it starts to seem tedious what you're doing. I think everybody feels that way. You start to kind of like get really tired of your subject. So I thought doing some BookTube videos might give me a chance to remember how great reading is and how reading can connect us to each other in really interesting and just like plainly fun ways. For my BookTube channel, I think that there will be a number of reviews, but I also want to do those kinds of BookTube videos that everybody seems to love, because I love them too. Like, I want to do book hauls. I have a book buying problem. I like love used books. I also really like to read like very diversely. You know, I like sci-fi, I like nonfiction, I like memoirs. I listen to things on audiobook, and I read physical copies, and I borrow from the library, multiple libraries actually, and I buy books, and I just really love to consume literature. So I'm hoping that my channel will reflect that kind of diverse interest. Okay, so I thought at the end of this video I could talk about some of the books that I've been reading recently. I really like to get up at like 5:30 in the morning and just start reading before the whole world is up, and just read giant chunks at a time. I know 5:30 sounds so early to people, but yeah, I really love those early hour mornings. Anyway, I finished this morning this book, Faints and Furies by Lauren Groff. I mean, this has been a huge kind of bestseller this year, especially this season, right after it was nominated for the National Book Award. And I haven't read the other National Book Awards, but after reading this, I am like shocked that this didn't win. This book was phenomenal, and I think I'll need to do an entire review on it, because I have so many thoughts about the structure and the characters and the language style, which is quite flowery, but and I've seen people kind of disparage that on Goodreads reviews and some other popular reviews, thinking it was kind of like a hipster type text, but I completely disagree. I just loved it. The next book I'm reading is for a book club that me and my best friend do together, and this was her pick this month, and it's called Against Football: One Fan's Reluctant Manifesto by Steve Almond. And I would never have picked this up. Not only does football like just not interest me in the least, at least as a person watching a game. Like, I don't want to go to football games, I don't want to talk about football, I don't want to, you know, participate in fantasy football. But this book so far, I'm on, you know, like a third of the way through. It's so good. It's like this discussion about the morality of the game and how the history sort of developed, but it's not a history of football. It's a manifesto, right? He's thinking about why he likes football so much and whether or not that's an ethically justifiable position. So I am really into it. I can't wait for book club this month, actually. And then The other book I'm reading, because I kind of, when I'm reading nonfiction, I kind of like to go back and forth between fiction and nonfiction, is just like a fun one called Full Dark House by Christopher Fowler. So it's part of this mystery series called The Peculiar, that's hard to say, Peculiar, maybe it's easier to say if you're British, Crimes Unit Mysteries. And I had heard it was like Grandpa and Grandma Mulder and Scully. It turns out to be Grandpa and Grandpa Mulder and Mulder. I'm about 50 pages, I'm exactly 50 pages into it actually, and not much has happened yet. There's been a lot of like setting up what the Peculiar Crimes Unit is, so I'm hoping like as they get into the mystery, I get more excited about it. And then one more, I run a lot, and so when I'm out on my runs, I've been listening to Hunger Makes Me a Modern Girl by Carrie Brownstein. She's the one of the creators of Sleater-Kinney, that punk band from the 90s, which to be honest, I was never quite into. They were a little minimal for me. I think I already mentioned I like love Bruce Springsteen. I love big rock and roll sound, and they have 2 guitars and a drum, so it's kind of thinner, but her writing style is anything but thin. It's not pretentious, but Carrie Brownstein is smart. Sometimes it kind of seems like she's showing us that, like as though we would have these expectations that somebody who's writing a musical memoir would not be, you know, as articulate, and she certainly is. But I am really into it. So that is my introductory video, my first video on BookTube. I'm so excited to start making more videos and talking about all the books I'm reading, and talking especially with you about all the books you're reading, and maybe some of those are the same. Bye!